On today's episode of the Network for Women in Business podcast, we're going to hear from Chikeola Karimou, where we have a really frank and honest conversation about worthiness. Now, this particular podcast episode was recorded during a Facebook Live, so you're going to hear some interaction, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be fun. So get ready to learn from Chikeola Karimou right now. Chikeola Karimou, she's just amazing. She's going to tell you some great things about herself and her business. And then what we're going to do is jump right into the conversation about worthiness, because a lot of us really have to work on worthiness so we can get to our next level of greatness. And if this is something that you struggle with as it relates to even charging what you're worth or asking for what you're worth, then definitely you want to be a part of this conversation tonight, because I know you're going to get some valuable information from Chikeola that's going to help you to get to your next level of greatness. So Chikeola, why don't you tell everyone about yourself and your business and what you do?
Yeah. Well, hello everyone and welcome. It's lovely to be here with a fabulous Toni Coleman Brown. I love to talk about playing. I have been playing with Toni for a good decade now. As she said, we work on the book project together, co-author. I'm part of her network for women in business. And I just love the way she created this container for us women. And so my business has evolved over the years, and now in working that greatness, right, in stepping into those shoes to become great and bring the greatness out of ourselves, my business has evolved to embody your divine. So Chikeola.com is embody your divine, and it is also Soul Delight Interiors, where I really invite people to get in relationship with the divine. However it is that you understand what your divine is, step into it, embody it so that you can step into that next level of greatness, so that you can be all that really each one of us in our heart, we are longing for that next step of greatness. And so I like to call them portals. I help people to either use the portal of the space they live in, their home, their office, to upgrade. I call those things the simple beauty upgrades. Because so many of us want to wait for when we become the big kahuna to have the beautiful home to live in. And I realized that is not the truth. The other way around is the truth. So we can use that portal to start helping you to embody your divine. So you step up so you can receive that next level of greatness. Or we can use the portal of you just wanting to work on your mindset. Because the thing that we tell ourselves every day really is a huge part of us bringing that next level. And so you can step into the portal that I call your brilliant, stellar self as a mindset work, coaching, to also bring you out into your next level.
All right. So, I mean, that's really awesome. But, I work with a lot of women. And, the question that I really want to ask you is, why do you think that women struggle so much with their worthiness? And I mean, in men, they don't really sometimes have to accomplish as much as women, but they seem to be able to talk about themselves, sell themselves with such vigor. But when it comes down to the feminine side of us, the woman, we have a hard time, really going for it in that way. And I mean, and we almost feel like, oh, we have to have a long resume before we can go out there and ask for what we're worth. Why do we struggle so much with that? And imposter syndrome and all of that. Why do we struggle with that, Chikeola?
And that's the huge question, right? That's the big thing that is before us. And the first step, even in addressing this question, is we have to first recognize it, right? You and I, maybe because this is part of our business and because we have been working on it ourselves for a while, we are aware of it. But so many of us out there, so many women still out in this traditional world have not even come to that realization first. And that first step is the critical one, to understand that the environment in which we live is the first one that we have to start addressing, because culture has made it so. So it is so much part of our everyday that we are not even realizing that the everyday is like, it's like an invisible net. That's the way I like to call it, right? It's this invisible net that is holding people down. And it is the first net that you need to start kind of like cutting through to say, wait, wait, when did I ask you to kind of like hold me here?
Right.
And so once you start seeing the net, then you can start saying, no, this doesn't work for me.
Right.
Is this actually my belief or your belief? And so it is that first container that is the reason why we women, we have trouble with worthiness, because quote unquote, society has made it virtuous for us to be a certain way. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not talking about people not having respect. I'm not talking about people not having integrity, but your worthiness, as you're saying, to be able to acknowledge your accomplishment, to be able to ask for what you want, to be able to know that you are worth it deeply inside of yourself. We have to look at everything that society says and start saying, is this really the truth? And question all of those beliefs. All of these places, we have to look into them.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. You talk about the home environment, because and it's interesting. You also talk about, like just up leveling everything right now. And, one of the things that I'm going to be doing really soon is a branding shoot. So I'm planning on rebranding everything and finally going and get the makeup artist, the photographer, and really, just rebranding my websites and all of that stuff. And I'm excited about that. Why does that make a difference though? Because you know that I have struggled with a lot of that. And like a lot of times I've seen people with the beautiful websites and everything looks amazing. The backdrop looks amazing. And then a lot of times when I get the content, it's crap. It's crap. It's not really anything that's of depth or substance. And a lot of times, I know that when I come to the table, I will bring the depth, I will bring the substance, I will bring the knowledge. But why is it that look, that branding shoot, why is that important? Why?
It's important, but then we have to take it at two levels. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first level, I want to go first to this example that you gave, where people are doing the whole thing that is beautiful, but then when you really actually go to the site, it's kind of like an empty can, like we said, right?
Yes.
That's not the kind of work or worthiness that we are talking about here.
Okay.
Because that empty shell or empty can that we're talking about, this is again part of society, right? Whatever message that some women has received out there is that you are your outer beauty, right? You are accepted, you are appreciated because, make yourself beautiful, like you are a nice, lovely object there, don't talk too much, and then I will take things from here. That's a message that our culture has given many, many women.
That's true.
And so many women understand that. So they understand that making the things beautiful, and that's about it, but they don't really know who they are. They don't go in the depth of who they are, because your divine is connected to your depth. Your worthiness is connected to your depth. And so that emptiness part here is against society, and one of the messages society gave. And the other part of that coin is all about the moolah. Do whatever you need to do to make the moolah.
Oh,
So
okay. I
that's
see.
one way of understanding making the moolah. The other part of it, like you're saying, I am ready now to do the rebranding. I'm going to now get the makeup artist and this and that. Just looking at you talking about it, there was this big smile on your face. You went to a whole new level of being alive. So your aliveness and your enthusiasm was quite palpable from this place, from across the screen. And
Yeah.
so this is the part that we are talking about. This worthiness conversation I'm having with you is that matters because you understand what this is who I am. Because when you are embodying your divine, right, take a moment to check with yourself. What are all the words that you can use for your divine? You know that your divine is the best. So why will you come forward with less than your best? Right? You know
Yeah.
that your divine is the most beautiful thing. I mean, whenever we have a beautiful scene or anything that is awe-inspiring, oh my God, this is divine, this is awesome.
Yes.
And so once you start understanding that your essence deep inside of you, this thing is what you are, then you want to reflect that back because you know it. So it's not just the content, right? But also when you take time to make it look beautiful, amazing, fabulous, it's like, well, she knows who she is. And you're
Yes.
having fun with it. And as you do, you are pulling other people with you as well.
Yeah.
See?
And you know what? I have to call out the word divine. I really do.
Okay.
Because, today is hitting me very differently. You've talked about the divine, and you and I have spoken about this before, but today it's hitting me very, very differently. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing this as when you step up to that next best level of yourself and you're looking good and you're feeling amazing, you're connecting with the greatness of God. You
Yes.
really are.
Yes.
And you are being a true reflection
Yes.
of the divine. And
Yes.
it's hitting me so differently now because
Okay.
I really had this thing where it's just like, you know what, I'm just a jeans and t-shirt kind of gal. I'm
Yes.
not really into all of that. I'm really into my masculinity. All of that doesn't mean anything to me, but I get it now. I
Okay.
truly, truly get it. And I'm seeing it from such a spiritual and biblical place,
Yes.
because it's like that's like being a true reflection of God.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm feeling it now, and I get it now,
Well, I'm
and
so delighted. I'm so
yeah,
glad that you're getting it in a completely different way today. And
yeah,
I have to say that for me, being that we are working, we are open to all, and we all have different relationship with understanding the word God, right? Because we all have different relationship with that.
yes,
That's why for me, my brand is about your divine. Because
mm-hmm,
I don't know how you understand your divine. I don't know how you understand your God. But for sure, you have a certain understanding. And we
yes,
all know that that understanding is a very elevated one, right?
yes,
We understand the essence of our divine to be something that is awe-inspiring. And
yes,
so, however way it is in you, that's what God, because I am not here to tell you what God is or what God should be or how you should
right,
be. You understand that yourself. And my only work in this conversation of worthiness is, okay, do you have a relationship with that divine? Because for
mm-hmm,
some of us, that is an issue. Even in this relationship with our divine, so many of us are still in what culture says the relationship should be. We may
right,
be going to church every day or to the temple or, to the mosque, wherever it is that we go. Very few of us have taken the time to say, okay, what is my personal relationship with it. How do I understand this for myself? So I am not here to define that for you, but I am here to say, once you know that you are connected and you are that, how are you reflecting it?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, that word, now, like I said, divine is hitting me different, and I'm seeing it as a reflection. It's a reflection of the Most High, reflection of, your spirit, and when you reflect that, that's when you have true worthiness. That's when you're able to be open to worthiness, because you understand who you are, and you understand your true value, and you understand your true worth, and it empowers you to be able to ask for what you want and actually receive it. So, I mean,
and there is still work though, because this is something that I have learned over the years. It's not something that we know in here. It's not a head thing. There is a process where you have to embody it. Because you can say, well, yeah, I'm the child of the divine, and then think, well, this is my work, so I'm going to charge people $100,000. Well, yeah, you can say that. But life is not going to reflect that back to you necessarily, because it's not a mental exercise. It's a true knowing exercise, the true something that has to be in you. Because once it's in you, the way it is with other people is quite reflected. And when that relationship is not there, believe me, the divine is kind of funny that way. The divine is not going to let you get away with things. I can promise you that. And so if it's not in here and not knowing it is in your head, the divine does not play that way either. And for me, one of the ways that I have come to say, you know what, I think this is mine, because for the longest time, those were so obvious inside of me. I didn't realize that I needed to talk about it, You know what I mean? Like when something is so easy, so clear, you don't think there is anything to it. But then it's like the same thing, it's been shown to me again and again. I'm like, okay, maybe this is mine to talk about, maybe more. And the first place for me is when I go into people's home. People that are well educated, well to do, but people are overwhelmed. Some of them are overwhelmed with work or whatever the reasons. And the home is not reflecting yet what I know of them.
Right.
And it's like, but this is a huge part, because everything that you are surrounding yourself with is affecting you. I think one day in our conversation, I was telling you, I wish strong. I can have threads. If people can see the thread that is connecting them to everything, even the things that their eyes cannot see, it is still part of your environment, and it is either elevating you or it's zapping
you down. Listen, you have said nothing but a word, okay? So when it comes down to environments, like a lot of times people's homes are like crazy. And so what are some of the first things that we need to do in order to elevate that, so that we can feel worthy and feel good? Like that's one of the things that Tony Robbins always talks about. He talks about, like this feeling, you got to get yourself in that state. He always talks about that state. And I think that what, the connection that I'm making with you tonight, in terms of what he always talks about in terms of that state, is a divine state. That helps you, and it's on the inside. So what, the home is this out, well, it's not really outside stuff, but it kind of is outside stuff. How does that impact the inside?
But you see, this is the big thing. That's the big secret. It is a secret. That's not being a secret anymore, right?
Okay. Let's talk about the secret. Go ahead.
it is a big secret because this universe, because did you hear yourself? You say, well, our home is not really the inside, it's outside. And this is a big secret or the big game that life or our divine is having with ourselves, with us. Is everything around us is a reflection.
Mm.
And so this is the premise of this work when I'm inviting people to say, you know what? You want to start by elevating the beauty of your home because everything that you can see with your eyes is telling you this is who you are. Because the big secret is the reflection game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something we can understand from here. It's not set up that way. It is set up that once you start awakening inside, you start understanding these outer laws. So this is a spiritual law. The outer world is a reflection. Again, it's not a mental understanding because you're like, what? It doesn't make sense to us. But
Right.
anything that you can see, have you ever had the experience that there is something that is right there in your face, is in front of you, is part of your world, but you don't see it until you have a conversation one day and somebody made it become very clear to you, and then you laugh, oh yeah. And from that moment, you start seeing it.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
It is that principle. Whatever you can see is a reflection of something inside of you.
Mm.
Because you cannot see it, if it's not inside, you cannot see it. And so based on that principle, you want to start surrounding yourself with only the things that can lift you to that vibration, to that state that we're talking about. And so because when we are here, when we have the divine on our side, life is a lot more easier than when we don't. It's like, then let's do the work. Let's do
Right.
what we can do to reflect. And so
Right.
for me, you want to start by surrounding yourself with things that you love. Make sure that whatever it is that you're placing in your environment, you like it. You have, at the minimum, like it. If you don't like it, it's like, why is it there?
Mm. So what are some of the things that we can begin to do? You know, what are some of the things that we can begin to do to really take our worthiness, you know, raise our vibration, take our worthiness to the next level so we can reach that next level of success?
So I would say worthiness. First thing is to sit with it and start saying, wow, what is my own relationship with my worthiness? Right? Double check. One of the things that I discovered through my own journey, right? We talk about self-esteem, we talk
Mm-hmm.
about self-confidence, and we talk about self-worth. And
Mm-hmm.
people think that they are, interchangeable. It's not. They're different
Mm.
levels, right? So yes, you
Yeah.
need to have some self-esteem in order to build some self-confidence, in order to really know your self-worth.
Okay.
And so the different aspects of who we are becoming.
Mm-hmm.
In the journey of self-worth, and we're talking about the home, the environment, and the reflection, I would say to start sitting with, check with yourself. Where am I with myself? Do I feel worthy? Do I feel worthy of, let's say, a dream that I have in my heart? Or I have no idea of, or maybe you have no idea. Some people will have no idea if they understand self-worthiness or not. But with regard to the relationship with your space and building that feeling, that state, like you were talking about, really, the first thing is if something doesn't really, if you don't care for it, let it go. If you're looking at something, it doesn't make you smile, or there's not a little story behind it, it's like, no, you know? maybe you belong to somebody else, but it may not belong to me. Or maybe there was a time that it used to mean something,
Yeah.
right? Because that's some of the things we evolve. And our spaces should evolve with us, but most of the time we don't. We stay in the same space. Staying in the same place is not wrong, but are the things around you evolving with you? Is you saying, I want the best because you're lifting yourself to that space of the best.
Yes.
So taking a walk through and start looking to say, well, do I like this? Do I care for it? Do I feel like it's a reflection of my divine? And if it does not, you can start considering letting it go.
Yeah. I think a lot of us need to let go a lot of things in order to, get to our next level of greatness. I think a lot of us are holding on to way too much stuff. It's almost like years and years and years of stuff. I mean, when you just with what you said, a lot of times I feel like I just want to come in my house and throw everything in the garbage, everything, and just start all over again. I'm serious.
Well, maybe it's a calling. Maybe it's a call that it might be time
Yeah.
to shift,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because as we open up, as we make this decision inside of ourselves that
Mm-hmm.
I really want to let my greatness come out, because it's really something we have to bring out. It is
Right.
inside of us, but we have to give it voice. We have to give it space. We have to give it expression.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we're doing this work, we shift. And we talk about vibration. I think we all understand this today: energy, vibration, or that state, that feeling.
Yes.
That those things evolve with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that we surround ourselves with may not be a match anymore. And that's the way to understand it. Is it still matching? Is it a fit? And
Okay,
if
are we talking
not,
about things? Are we talking about people?
it could be both. It could be both.
It could be both. Yeah. Yeah. And I want everybody that's watching us on Facebook Live to hear that. It's not just things. It could be
No.
people too.
And
And that's
ideas.
huge.
And
And
ideas.
ideas. Ideas. Hey. Hey.
Yes.
We might be holding on to some ideas that we need to let them
Yeah.
go.
Yes, because our beliefs, where do our beliefs come from? But from our ideas, right?
Ah,
And so if we are not taking the time to look at the ideas we are entertaining, or the beliefs that have now kind of like sprouted around those ideas, those things can also be part of, the energy that are holding us back. Or, even when your greatness is like, okay, I want to come out, but we are not opening that portal, then,
yeah. So this has been a really, really great chat. But before we go, what I really would like you to do is leave us with maybe like 2 or 3 things that we can do today to really help us with our worthiness so that we can really move to our next level of greatness.
Yes.
2 or 3 things.
Yes. And so in embodying your divine, in our conversation about worthiness and starting to say, well, it's about your divine, because I have no idea what your divine is like. So you, Toni, may have a certain understanding of what it is to be divine, what your essence is like. That is quite different than mine. And so one thing to do is to say, oh yeah, what is my divine? If I have to find a word that convey that feeling, right? Like when I am perfectly in sync with my divine, how is that? Right? And you can start writing that. You can have an idea of what that is for you. And then you can start saying, oh wow, do I surround myself within that thing divine, or am I opening myself? Am I being a channel for this divine in the way I interact with people, and to start anchoring that space.
Okay.
Not because somebody else wants you to be that way, not because society says so, but because you want to. Because you say, this is who I am, and this is the way I am going to go about it.
Yes.
And so once you start calling that forward for yourself, start infusing that in your life, in your interactions, that's how people will start reflecting back to you that, wow, I am perceiving something.
Wow.
That's how you start claiming that worthiness.
Wow. So, you have to start asking yourself, what is my divine? What does that mean? Well, all right. And then what's the next step after that?
And the next step after that is for you to start kind of on your own, kind of consciously infusing that. You want to, whatever that was for you, start putting it out there in the world. Put it out in the world, because you put it out, it will come back to you. That's another spiritual law to understand, is whatever we put out, that comes back to us. Yeah, so once you decide, well, this is the way it is, put it out through your words, through the way you touch someone, through the way you speak, right? You project it out so it can come back to you.
This is all really good. And I like what you had to say, because I believe it's practical. It's practical. So once, like the first thing is to define what the divine is for you. And then once you define it, you can start, creating it in your space, in your life, and then you can become a reflection of it. And it becomes, everything becomes a reflection of it once you define what it is. I mean, that's big.
Yes, because
that's
once
big.
you understand that, and once you understand that whatever it is that you're putting out there is what actually is coming back to you, then it's like, why would you not do that? Right? Because the more you put it out there, then it comes back exponentially.
Yeah. And then it almost, what happens is, it's like, once you once you start doing that, it's almost like you automatically start putting yourself in that constant state. And it's an elevated state. And once you get into that elevated state, then everything just becomes, and then you naturally have to put out, what you're feeling, and you naturally begin to operate at that next level of greatness.
Exactly.
It just makes so much sense. It really does.
And if you are operating at that next level, naturally you're going to be attracting that next level, because it is whatever you put out there that comes back, right? And so if you are operating at that next level, naturally it is whomever is at that next level that is going to be coming back to you.
That just makes so much sense. It really does. So tell everybody, Chikeola, how they can get in contact with you, and if they want to do some, inner work and really work on their worthiness. I mean, you're a great coach, because, in the conversations that we've had, oftentimes I've been helping you, but you've definitely been helping me. So tell everybody.
We all have our gifts.
Yes, we're operating in our gifts. So tell everybody how they can get in contact with you. And I so appreciate you taking some time to, chat, and just to really begin to enlighten people as it relates to worthiness, and tapping into their divine, and really understanding what it means for them, and defining it for themselves, so that they can become a reflection of it in every walk of their life. I love that. I just love it.
Yes, I have a big, I see women being so beautiful and really
Mm-hmm.
as part of my, I have my, as I said, my secret desires. I really desire for all women
Mm-hmm.
to be the radiance that
Yeah.
each and every one of us is.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's when we take time to start working on those little details, when we take time to start asking ourselves these questions, when we choose, like you said, to step into our next level of greatness, that is when the radiance, right, naturally is just about you and everybody can see it and reflect that back to you. And so it is always a joy for me to have this opportunity to share. And so right now, people can connect with me on Soul Delight Interiors. So either from my website, right,
Mm-hmm.
souldelightsinteriors.com. They can find me on Instagram with Soul
Mm-hmm.
Delight Interiors or Soul Beauty Living. Because when I talk about the divine, it's really about the beauty that the divine is that people are infusing into everything that they are.
Nice, nice. So if you guys have any questions, you might want to drop them in the chat, but you can definitely check out Chikeola. She's on Facebook. And what's your URL? I want to put it in the chat.
So on Facebook, so it's going to be, facebook.com/ Soul Delight Interiors.
Mm-hmm.
They can also find me just on facebook.com/ Chikeola for my personal page. But I have
Mm-hmm.
been playing more on Instagram, so I send people
Mm-hmm.
to Instagram. So instagram.com and for at Soul Delight Interiors.
And your website?
The website is
Mm-hmm.
www.souldelightsinteriors.com.
Interiors.com.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have it. It's interiors with an S, right?
Correct.
All right, awesome. So this was really good. I mean, I got a lot out of it. I hope that all of the people that were watching got a lot out of it. And my biggest takeaway from tonight is that you have to, first of all, define your divine.
Mhm.
And once you define what that is, then you can begin to create an environment that reflects it. And once you define it and begin to create the environment, then every environment, everything will become or start to become a true reflection of that divine.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And so
And
that
and
eventually,
yeah,
once you come into that integrity, then your divine is right there with you, for you.
and for you and holding you,
Yeah.
lifting you up, letting you know that you're worthy, letting you know, allowing you, freeing
Mhm.
you to
Yes.
step into your next level of greatness. I
Yes.
love it. Thank you
Yes.
so, so much. I really
You
appreciate
are quite
you.
welcome.
And I know that everybody that has been watching appreciates you. We had quite a few people watching. So this has been awesome. And for those of you that are watching on the Network for Women in Business page, definitely you can check us out next week, Thursday, when we do our live virtual speed networking event. This is your opportunity to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs right from the comfort of your own living room. You will also have the opportunity to go into one-on-one chats for about 4 minutes. So each person gets 2 minutes to really give their spiel and really be able to get new clients and new customers. We already have well over 70 people registered, so we're really excited about it. And we're a week out, we know we're going to get more people, but definitely go to the Network for Women in Business, Network for Women in Business Facebook page and sign up for the virtual speed networking event. It's going to be great, and we hope to see you there. So thank you so much again, Chikeola. You are amazing. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Chikeola was amazing, wasn't she? Please make sure to check us out online at www.thenetworkforwomeninbusiness.com. And definitely make sure to subscribe to our show. We appreciate each and every one of our listeners. And make sure you rate it as well. Leave a comment, and we'll make sure to air it on our podcast soon. Take care, and see you on the next episode.